This is Think Future with Kalabukas. Now, there's a famous Zen writer who wrote something about beginner's mind. And he mentioned something about beginner's mind being pure and unsullied and being able to come up with things that expert's mind wouldn't be able to come up with. I mean, it's the same thing that happens. I don't know if this has happened to you, but the first time you've ever tried doing something, it's called beginner's luck, by the way. The first time you ever tried doing something, for some reason, you're really, really good at it. You're extremely good at it. For some reason, you're really good at it. And this happened to me when I was playing golf. In fact, it happens to a lot of people when they do something for the first time, something that takes some skill. They do it for the very, very first time, and they find that they excel at it. They excel at it. But then what happens is that they start going, wow, I was really good at this. Maybe I'll just keep on going. But once they start learning more about the rules and regulations of whatever it is that they're trying to do, it constricts them more and more and more and more, and it restricts their mind when it comes to this particular thing. And they get worse and worse and worse before they start getting better and better and better. And the more you practice, obviously, the better you're going to get. But at the very, very beginning, you are really good at this thing, but you know nothing about this thing. So you wonder, why is it that when at the very, very start of learning something, you're typically really good at it? Beginner's luck kicks in. You're typically really good at it, but then it goes downhill after that. It's because you had beginner's mind. It's because you had a mind open to all of the complete possibilities of this thing. You didn't have the rules and regulations in your mind. You were open to everything. And sure, maybe you did a few things that weren't strictly regulation, but because you didn't know what those regulations were, you pushed the envelope. You did better than you normally would because you didn't know much about it. So I would say the exact same thing applies when you're innovating. Sometimes when you're too deep into a subject or a topic, this is something that you do day in, day out, every day, you would not be able to innovate in this space because you know too much about this space. You know the rules and restrictions of this space, so it's almost impossible for you to think outside of this space. In fact, it might be, I mean, you could try sort of reprogramming your brain so that you're coming out to this with a whole set of fresh eyes. But it's almost impossible to forget stuff like this that's been ingrained into your head for all this time. So, in fact, if anything, you should probably not be innovating in that space. If you know too much, if you're an SME, sometimes this happens in ideation sessions. We have these ideation sessions with my clients, and you can't bring the SME into subject matter expert. You can't bring the subject matter expert into the meeting because they know too much, and they can shut down your brainstorming because they'll go, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this, we can't do that. Of course, that's when you have to reset them and say, listen, we're in the land of make-believe. All of those things are possible. Anything is possible. Think about that. But I digress. The reality is if you do want to go to that innovative place where you want to build innovative new products and services, you can't know too much about the space you're going into, because then you'll know about all the restrictions and regulations that are keeping you in that space. And it's almost better that you're not in that space. And as a matter of fact, you bring people in who are not in that space or in completely different space to be able to help you brainstorm. This is what I mean a lot of times by cognitive diversity. Instead of bringing in people who know the space really, really well to ideate in the space, you bring in people who purposely know nothing about the space. And sure, sometimes they might make some mistakes where you'll go, oh, you know nothing about this space. There's no possible way this thing could work. However, there may be other things that they can generate that are totally out of the box and work perfectly, but you never thought of them because you were too deep into it. You knew too much. You didn't have beginner's mind in this space. So that's what I'm saying, is that the next time you do an ideation session, don't bring the SMEs in. Purposely leave them out, or make sure that they have a supporting role to vet the ideas after the fact and not have them participate in the initial brainstorming session, because they might shut things down. They might put the walls around the box and say that's needs to be constricted. And that's not what you need when you first start ideating. You need an unconstricted flow of amazing ideas, and even the crazy ones are good.